This is an audio and closed captioning test for AV services. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
Morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It is currently 9 o'clock. We'll give it a few more minutes, give an opportunity for others to join before we get started. Thank you. Hey, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome and thank you for joining us at the State Water Resources Control Board's Drinking Water and Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program Fee Stakeholder Meeting. This meeting is being held virtually through Zoom and webcast platforms, and also is being recorded. My name is David Ceccarelli, and I'm the Fee and Revenue Branch within the Division of Administrative Services. Today, we have many of the Fee and Revenue Branch staff working behind the scenes to ensure that this meeting runs as smoothly as possible. If any time throughout this event you find that you are having technical difficulties, please email das-drinkingwaterfees@waterboards.ca.gov. And that email is also on the agenda and is currently on the home screen on the webcast currently and Zoom platform right now. Also joining me today in the presentation is Cassandra White and Tracy Lotz of the Fee and Revenue Branch. Individuals attending via Zoom, please use the raise the hand function if you'd like to ask a question or provide a comment. If you are joining us through the webcast, you can also submit a comment or ask a question by emailing the email again on the screen, which is again das-drinkingwaterfees@waterboards.ca.gov. In the past, there has been some delays in the broadcast through the webcast. Therefore, through the meeting, staff may pause so the broadcast can catch up to the listeners. I'd like to just go over a few of the meeting guidelines. Remember to use the handouts that were sent to you via email. If you do not have the handouts, don't worry. We'll be sharing the documents on the screen. You can also request a copy of documents after the meeting, or the handouts are posted on the Water Board's fee webpage. Please, again, if you have any technical difficulty issues during the call, during the meeting, please email us. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. Again, you can also submit comments and questions through the email, and we'll have staff monitoring those as the meeting goes along. When it is your turn to speak, please identify yourself and who you represent. And then finally, for the meeting to run efficiently and stay on track, we're requesting each participant who wants to ask a question to please ask one question at a time. I understand you may have a clarifying question to your original question, and that is acceptable. Once your question is fully answered, we're going to move on to the next participant's question, and you will be put back into the order of participants who are requesting to ask a question. In addition, we respect all opinions and input. However, if the discussion starts to move away from the intent of the meeting, which is to discuss drinking water and ELAP fees, then I'm going to ask that the participant and I meet offline to coordinate these discussions further and involve appropriate staff as needed. So let's go ahead and review the agenda before we get started here. So we'll be starting with just a short, brief discussion on the stakeholder process overview, and then move on to the Safe Drinking Water Account and Environmental Laboratory Improvement Fund budget overview. Safe Drinking Water Account budget cost drivers, which is attachment 1, is item number 4. Item number 5, we'll discuss potential drinking water fee changes. Item number 6 is the Environmental Laboratory Improvement Fund condition cost drivers, which that is attachment 2. And then we'll have an open discussion and then next steps. So at this point, what I want to do is introduce John Russell, the Deputy Director of the Division of Administrative Services, for some opening remarks.
Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to point out a couple things really quickly at the very start of this meeting. If you'll notice on the handout that we gave you, the cost driver information and the fee information is a little bit thin this time. It's very thin, in fact. And that's just because of a budget timing issue that we're working on with the Department of Finance. As you might know, the Department of Finance had two budget letters come out late last year that required us to do some budget reductions. One of them was a vacancy reduction, and the other was about a 7.94 operating budget reduction. The results of those two budget letters, they are not reflected in our individual department budgets yet. We're working with the Department of Finance on finalizing those. We've turned in our final worksheets for those about 2 weeks ago. So Finance is reviewing them, and they'll be approving them. And then that information will be showing up in the May revise. So again, it's not that we're trying to hide anything that we normally show you. It's just an odd little quirk of the budget process this year that we just don't have the information to share with you. We'll be getting that soon, probably in the April or May timeframe. And then, like I said, it will show up in the May revise. So until that time, like I said, the information we'll be providing to you today is pretty preliminary. But definitely show up to the June stakeholder meeting, and we'll have all the information that we normally have for you at that point. With that, I'll flip it back to you, David.
Hey, thank you, John. So we'll move on to item number 2. And we put this on the agenda just, basically for some of the new stakeholders that are participating in the meetings, and just wanted to just have a brief overview of the stakeholder process. These meetings are designed to provide an open forum with staff and stakeholders on our fee programs, where staff can present the budget, fee information, propose new or changes to existing fee structures, listen to concerns, answer questions, receive feedback. The feedback's vital in our preparation of developing fee structures, and of course the information that we take to the board meetings. We also, of course, review each of these funds, including discussing budget cost drivers, any BCPs, changes and impacts from alleged proposals, of course, that may be driving our cost, discussions on other state operation cost, reviewing current revenue levels and comparing those with program expenditures, again, providing projections on fee adjustments, giving an overview and a discussion of our fund conditions. Again, that's an overview of our revenue levels and expenditures, and highlighting the reserves and where the reserves stand in the projections of the end of the year. And these meetings are held in conjunction with the release of the governor's budget. So with this meeting today is basically a discussion with the release of the Jan 10th budget. Our next meeting, of course, will be in June, which is based off of the May revise. And then finally, we'll be meeting after the enacted budget, which is normally signed in that timeline of middle of June to 1st of July. So kind of with that said, item number 3 was on this agenda about a course of the budget overview update. John basically kind of getting touch basis on that. I just again reiterate that we've been working with finance, again with some delays. The budget data wasn't entered into the Jan 10th budget, but we do anticipate the May revise that will have updated data, and that data not only is going to reflect the 25-26, but also have some updates on the current budget for 24-25 that we're in. And we'll have kind of a little brief discussion here on that when we get to item number 4 here. And so with that said, item number 4, I'm going to pass to Tracy, and she's going to provide us a budgetary cost drivers for the Safe Drinking Water account.
Thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. The first table shows last year's fiscal year 24-25 fee setting budget at $47.98 million, followed by the governor's January proposed fee setting budget for fiscal year 25-26 at $48.27 million, which is a net difference of $287,000 or 0.6%. The second table shows what is driving the program costs. State operations is the first one with an increase of $818,000 or 1.7%. This is primarily employee compensation, including salaries, healthcare, and retirement. The next budget item is a spending authority reduction of $250,000 or 0.5% to last year's BCP SB3 Water Shutoff Protection Act due to reduced contract funding. Finally, the last cost driver is pro rata, which shows a decrease of $281,000 or 0.6%. That concludes the cost driver details supporting the overall SDWA increase of $287,000 or 0.6%. I will now pitch this back to David.
Thank you, Tracy. And again, just a couple of things I just wanted to highlight is, these are based on the numbers that are in, of course, the governor's January proposed budget. We do anticipate not only changes to the 24-25 fee setting budget, but also the 25-26 May revised budget. So once we get that data, we'll be updating it and then providing it to you in the June stakeholder meeting, which then is of course going to be able to impact what our fund conditions look like. And then also kind of moving forward on what the plan will be for fees for 25-26 if there's a need to make adjustments, and if so, we'll basically put together a table that shows what those increases may look like or what those adjustments may look like. So I'm going to pause at this time and ask if there are any questions. And I'm also going to ask staff if there are any questions that are coming in on the email line.
There's no questions on email.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's move on to the next item here. And I believe this is item number 5 here, which is a proposed fee change. And I am going to also toss this back to Tracy.
Hi, we actually have from program Wendy and Gabby here. Did one of you want to jump on and run through this change, the what and the why?
Yes, I'll go ahead and
Thank
do
you.
that. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we are proposing a change to section 64310, which is the reduction of fees for public water systems. This proposed regulation change would be applicable to only state-regulated water systems. So water systems regulated by a county agency would not be eligible for this DAC fee reduction change. What are we proposing? So what is changing? The Division of Drinking Water will now be determining a water system's disadvantage fee reduction eligibility. This will be replacing the current process, which is water systems, specifically community water systems self-certify. They self-certify their median household income. We will be doing this by using the Division of Drinking Water's needs assessment median household income data. And There will be an opportunity for water systems who disagree with their disadvantaged community status to petition. And you may be asking why the change. I have some 3 bullets that are listed there. As I mentioned, community water systems self-certify their median household income. Sometimes that can be inefficient or ineffective. Some water systems are missing out on receiving a DAC fee reduction. And then, as my last item says, on the right-hand side, the current process lacks equity, preventing the Division of Drinking Water from verifying the reliability of sources used for fee reduction waivers. Wendy, I don't know if you have anything else that you would like to mention. If not, that is all we have. Okay, Tracy, we are done.
Great, thank you. And we'll have more information as this develops. This is just our high level introduction to something that we're considering. And then as we move forward in this budget process, we'll be able to provide you more information. David, I'll go ahead and pitch this back to you again.
Okay, and then let me ask if there are any questions regarding this proposal at this time. And let me pause here just for a moment and ask again if there's any questions on the email line.
No email questions.
Okay. Okay, again, we're again just teeing this off at this point. Remember, if you do have any, as you're looking at this, and if you have any further questions after this meeting, please go ahead and email us. And of course, we'll definitely forward that information and work with the Division of Drinking Water staff. Okay, so that at this point, that concludes the information on the drinking water program. And we will now move to item number 6, which is the Environmental Laboratory Improvement Fund budget cost drivers. And I'm going to toss this to Tracy also.
Good morning again. Okay, for our cost drivers, the first table shows last year's fiscal year 24-25 fee setting budget at 4.68 million, followed by the governor's January proposed fee setting budget for fiscal year 25-26 at 4.62 million, a net difference decrease of 62,000 or 1.3%. The second table shows what is driving the program costs. And the first cost driver is state operations with a decrease of 46,000 or 1%. And the second and last cost driver is pro rata, which decreased $16,000 or 0.3%. And that concludes the cost driver detail for supporting the ELAP decrease of 62,000 or 1.3%. And I will shoot this back to David.
Thank you, Tracy. And then again, as I mentioned in the cost drivers for drinking water, and as I mentioned yesterday with the water quality and drinking water, when we do see the May revise numbers, we're anticipating that not only the 24-25 fee setting budget will change, but also potentially changes in the course of the 25-26 may revise our proposed fee setting budget. So again, this is the information that we know as of today, based on the Jan 10th. But again, we are expecting some changes, as John mentioned in his introduction remarks. So I will pause it again. Any questions again on what we're seeing in regarding the budget cost drivers for the ELAP? Okay, There is a question, and we're going to have the question read.
Yes, there's a question from Sue asking, how many systems does the state anticipate will be newly included, no longer included in the DAC eligibility?
We'll have those numbers in June, in the June workshop.
Thank you, Wendy. So yeah,
Yeah.
yes, to answer the question, program staff is evaluating those numbers currently. And come the June meeting, we'll have that information available.
And let me also add in, David, that sorry, the numbers that we provide will probably be close to the numbers, but more likely be an estimate. We won't have the exact numbers until we start getting closer to evaluating and invoicing and that process.
Thank you. And I'm pausing here because there's another question coming in.
There's another email question from Susmita from Inland Empire Utilities Agency. They're asking, I would still like to know if any staff positions assigned to ELAP were clawed back by the governor's position sweep.
So that information will come out in the May revise, which we'll have in a few weeks. Again, the information, of course, that was provided. Of course, we part of one of the budget letters was for us to again give up vacancies. We provided a plan that was submitted to the Department of Finance. And so they're working on it and entering it into the budget system. So we'll be able to provide a response to that at the May revise at the June meeting. Are there any other questions at this time? Hi, Debbie, you have your hand raised.
Yeah,
Morning.
I'm thinking, good morning. I'm thinking that you might have this in the next one, but does ELAP have any indication in the change in number of laboratories that will be sharing the cost?
I know Caitlin just joined here.
Morning.
Maybe I don't fully understand the question.
I think she's just asking, and Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, what the population of laboratories is sitting at right now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we might see an overall program reduction, but if we've got to split it among less labs, it ends up being an increase. So that's what I'm going for. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. We're sitting right around 500 laboratories right now.
And how is that a change from last year?
We're still seeing just a slight decrease year over year, 2% or so.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that information. And
Yeah.
I'm sure as this is, developed further, we'll know more. So
Yeah, I think we'll be able to have a more meaningful conversation in May once we have some more finite numbers, I guess, better idea what those numbers are going to look like.
okay. Thank you.
No problem.
I don't see any further questions at this time. So we'll move to the open discussion. If anyone wants to ask any additional questions or bring anything up regarding, of course, the drinking water fees and or the ELAP fee programs? Okay, not hearing anything. So a couple of closing remarks here. One, our next scheduled stakeholder meeting for drinking water and the ELAP is scheduled for June 10th. And you know, we reiterated this several times, but we'll have, you know, better numbers to share and discuss and have a little more meaningful discussion regarding the fee programs. And then second, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Cassandra or Tracy. You know, if you see anything in the handouts or you have questions that you weren't able to ask today, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. And or if it's program related, we'll pass the information along to program staff and coordinate with them on communicating back to you. So again, I don't see any questions, and at this point, we can conclude the meeting. Want to thank everyone for their time today. Appreciate you on a Friday morning coming and listening to our stakeholder meeting. You know, again, it's crucial that we have involvement from the stakeholder community, and we appreciate everyone's time. With that said, everyone have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll have further discussions in June. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.